Welcome to another edition of Action 14. I'm Mike Briggs, bringing you information from the city, from the schools, and from the arts. We start out tonight with Mayor Pullman. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mike. It's always a pleasure to be here with you and our TV 14 viewers.
Before we start, I just want to say that we had our first real snow of the year last week, and I thought the city did a fantastic job clearing the streets, making sure everything was safe for everyone. I think they did a fantastic job.
Thank you, Mike. That's appreciated. Our crew, I think, goes above and beyond what's necessary, and they really attacked the job well, and they put in some long hours. There's going to be some overtime that's going to be paid, but it's well worth it. I think that our reputation is one that we take to heart very seriously.
And the equipment you have looks like it's almost new.
A couple of years old. We didn't have to use it for 2 winters.
Yeah.
but it's definitely made our process much easier because we don't have breakdowns. We have new equipment, like you said, and that in itself gives the operator much more flexibility. We have additional units that have side plows on them, and it definitely makes some of the work easier for the crew. And like I say, they do a phenomenal job.
Yep, I thought it was the first time they've had to use their equipment in 2025, and they did a nice job.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's talk about some things that have changed here. We're going to have a little bit of delay on the Mill Pond Dam, but for all the right reasons.
That's correct. It's unfortunate that we have a year delay in the Mill Pond Dam, and I can assure our viewers that the dam replacement will take place. We were certainly hoping to have this process moving in 25, which we're already in now. Unfortunately, it took us about 6 months to negotiate terms with a private property owner that ended up costing us $65,000 for access to the property and usage of some of that property during construction. Without it, you don't put a barge in the mill pond and try to work on shore. So it was a necessary expenditure. It drew our timeline out a year, quite honestly. Now, is that a bad thing? Well, yes and no, because the process of approval is still quite significant, jumping through all of the different preliminary reviews, then the final review, then the submission to Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. And of course, all those approvals have to come before you can even let out the bids, which we're hoping to do that in the fall of 25. And then when those bids comes in and we review those for content and are they completing everything that's in the requirement, hopefully we'll have that anchored down and accepted by the council by the end of 25. And then actual construction, we were not going to have a mill pond in 25. We still will have a mill pond in 25.
Right.
There's going to be some decrease in it simply because of some of the changes that are being made. So it won't be its normal mill pond that we're used to. But the drawdown will now happen in April of 26, and actual construction we're looking at starting June 1st of 26 through the end of the year. So 26 is going to be a mess, to say it politely, but we're certainly hoping to have everything lined up and moving at full speed.
You've pushed it forward, but all of the different hoops you have to go through has actually slowed it down, but you had to go through them to get funding.
There's no shortcut. Once you get the funding through the state, and we secured $1 million toward it. We actually ended up getting an additional $600,000 from another state source of funding. So once you get involved in those state funding arrangements, the checklist increases a couple pages. Now more compliance requirements, and that and the negotiating the process, it took a little longer, but we're in place, ready to roll, and quite honestly, I'm hoping for spring, because I want to see that thing get moving, and it'll take time, but yeah, we're on our way.
But we're certainly almost a year and a half away from seeing construction.
Correct, yeah. Construction should start June of '26, and then by Christmas of '26, it should be completed, and then it'll naturally refill from just simply the watershed that we're in. But we won't see it back to real good usage until obviously spring of '27.
Yep. So it was because all of the funding that was required, it's worth the wait.
It is. Our costs have gone up because of the wait, but that was out of our control. And that's where you really work hard on the front end, trying to get all your funding lined up. Projects always end up costing more than they anticipated costs. So we're still okay, but it's nice that we found out all this update stuff recently, because in May or June of '25, we'll be putting out a bond issue that's going to go up now. And certainly long-term costs are still a factor.
Okay. Well, other things that are moving forward, I mean, it's been a busy time. We have you have apartments being built west of Walmart. They're going to be working on that as spring comes in.
They actually poured some footings here
a
couple weeks ago. With the cold weather now, I think they backed off.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of housing there for rent.
Yep.
But the one that's really taking charge now is the fact east of the Plymouth High School football field.
Correct.
That's going to be housing that people will own.
That is single family. It'll be a variety because the landscape is kind of rolling and hilly.
Yeah.
It'll be a nice mixture of homes that have similar floor plans, but certainly some will be, built into the hillside. All single family, and that's about a 34 acres, I think.
Yep.
About a $26 million project.
But one of the items is that a grant with 1% interest. How does that happen?
Well,
That's very lucky.
That took another timeline of application and answering the questions, and Brian from the SCDC, I got to champion his efforts, because he's really gone above and beyond trying to secure money. It was important that we obtain that grant through the city and Brian's process, because 1% money made that project much more viable. Otherwise, we're looking at 5 or 6% money.
Yeah.
That makes a huge difference in the bottom line and what you can and can't do. So that was a nice opportunity to pick up a lower interest cost, and it makes the forward fund that much more valuable, which the city has is participating in that to the tune of a couple $1 million
Yeah.
from our TID4, which that was the intent of using those additional dollars. We had to apply for an extension on TID4. We were granted that. State requirement required us to use that for housing. That's what we're doing. So it's a nice opportunity to combine some of these programs. It's a little bit of a delay in the process, and unfortunately, like any government program, you end up with more bookkeeping, more paperwork to shuffle. But in the long run, this will be a boom for us, and we're very pleased to have that grant.
Now, a planned presentation will come up this spring and summer, is that correct?
Correct.
So
yeah.
the city council will get something similar to what the Gen Teens did?
I would say very similar. We're finalizing the agreement with the SCDC to put that package together, and they will do a public presentation. Has to go to the Plan Commission. There has to be a public hearing on it. So there will be a lot of information.
A lot of steps.
The next 3-4 months are going to be busy for us because of the requirements, but it's all public information. And quite honestly, I think it's going to be very informative to and helpful for people to realize all that's going on behind the scenes. It's a wonderful opportunity for the city to move forward.
It is. And I did mention the Gen Teens, the Adams, Rexall, et cetera, 52 Stafford. Things are changing.
Oh, it definitely is a love to restore something of that character to the community. And of course, it's completely gutted inside. So now the real work, if you have it, can begin. And that'll be a tax incentive district number 8 that's still on the drawing board with the lawyers and the accountants and how we can mix and match things to put that project together. It'll be a significant project, 15-16 million, and our incentive will probably be in the $1 million range. Pay-as-you-go approach to things. So we have protection in the process, but I think that the long-term benefit to the community, to the downtown, it'll be something that we'll be proud of for a long, long time.
Right.
And it's needed. We're drawing people in from all over the country and even out of the country. It'll be a fabulous opportunity to see people in the community that haven't been here before and show off our community.
And it could change downtown Plymouth.
Oh, it definitely,
For the better.
Yeah, it definitely will bring in more people to participate in activities and to spend some money in the local businesses. We're looking on it very favorably, and quite honestly, the numbers are very positive to bring that out.
Okay.
I really, knock on wood, don't feel the risk that you might have in some other situations. This one, the numbers check out.
Good, good.
So we're very happy.
I see people working in there. Lights are on inside. They were outside, working outside a bit, but the weather being what it is, they're working inside. They've covered up a few windows,
Yeah.
so I can't see what they're doing. So it must be pretty special.
Well, they took off the facade outside. There'll be a whole lot more once April comes because they're doing some wall demolition and reconstruction. But the inside work that will do the framing and partitioning, that they can do, and there is a lot of sawdust inside, I can tell you that.
Yeah, okay. Another item that's coming along is the Nut Ski Hill. That's going to be something something else too.
Oh, it's exciting to see some of the activity taking place. They had to go through and by agreement mark the new trail out, the new ski hill. Of course, that magic carpet, I want to get on that baby. That's going to be fun. But so there's a lot of design work that's being done, and they're lining up the construction equipment requirements. There'll be some big pieces of equipment out there to do some of the hill molding, if you will say that. We have also some infrastructure work with sewer and water and drain problems. We don't want to create problems for the neighbors or anything. All that is being planned and worked on diligently. So once again, when spring comes, you're going to see a lot of activity on that part of the city as well. So we're going to have a whole lot of construction on various parts of the city. But I think it's all an opportunity to, another 12 months down the road, you'll be seeing things take shape.
Yeah, there's going to be some trees taken down. They've been marked already, the trees that have to be removed.
They're already marked. About 230 trees are coming out. Some aren't.
But don't panic.
No, don't panic. Some are pretty scrubby looking in the first place. Some they're just making way for the trail and for the ski hill. But by agreement, we're going to be planting those 238 trees someplace else on public property. So they'll be replaced, and when we do it, it's not wild growth, it's planned improvement. So I think you're going to see a lot of opportunity to improve the view of the city and how it looks down the road.
It's a beautiful spot to begin with, and this hopefully will make it even better.
Absolutely. We're a tree city now for, 28, 30 years. This will just enhance the quality in the community, and it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that there hasn't been any skiing down that hill for a decade.
Yeah.
For over a decade, and it's time to have it happen.
It is. We've been asked for years, when's it going to happen, when's it going to happen? Quite honestly, we couldn't do it alone with the city. It had to be a private group that came in and partnered with us. That partnership, I think, will definitely pay off, and it'll be something to be proud of, where we can have year-round activity, but especially in the winter months.
Yes.
And it'll be a destination for many groups of variety.
Let's hope it brings, again, some more people to Plymouth to visit and possibly stay.
Exactly, and that's what we want. When you think of all the stuff that's going on and how they feed into each other, there's been a planning stage going on for 3, 4, 5 years. It's finally coming to the forefront, and we're excited that it's happening. It would have been nice to maybe spread it out a little bit more, but it is what it is, and we're taking full advantage of the people interested to do it and move the city forward.
Yes, it's going to be another item that's going to enhance the city.
Yes, yeah, very much so.
You're leaving us in a few days. Tell me about that. I heard rumor that you're heading out to Washington, D.C.
Well, as usual, Mike, you have very good sources, and we leave shortly for Washington, D.C.
Now, when you say we.
Taking the city administrator out, showing the ropes. I've been there 8 or 9 times. This will be his first trip to D.C., working with our Wisconsin Public Power partners, mayors across the state, and quite honestly across the nation. There's some huge topics in Washington that we've all heard of in the news lately, programs that are being cut, being added, being adjusted. One of those things, and as long as I've been mayor, it's been on the chopping block, is the municipal interest that is tax-free federal. That goes all the way back to long before my time, 1913, when a tax code was set up. Municipal interest is tax-free. Now that's important because not only does the city and the county, the state of Wisconsin, schools use municipal bonds. Lakeshore College uses municipal bonds. The costs to do any construction, any improvement, would probably raise about 10 or 20% if we had to go out in the marketplace in order to get the funding to build a new school or to add to a school or to build a new utility headquarters. Anything that any municipal body does comes from municipal bond borrowing. Sometimes we get low rates of 1 or 2%, but if we have to go out in the marketplace and compete at 6 or 7, 8%, what's your home mortgage at right now? The 20-year bond becomes a 30-year bond. And state of Wisconsin is a little unique in that we can't just pass those costs along immediately. We have to stretch them out because we have a net new construction that we can raise taxes on. If we had to borrow in the open market, that would probably raise, well, I know we would be over the limit. We couldn't do it because the state law says you can only raise it so much. Where we've gone up 1%, 2% in the past 10, 15 years, we'd be looking at maxing out every year, which sometimes is 3 or 4%. It can't be done. It's not possible to maintain that kind of tax increase just to keep the roads and the buildings and equipment in tip-top shape. So I'll be talking to our senators and representatives on that issue alone, but also the cost of energy. Plymouth has its own utilities. Right. We're part of a 51 city consortium that they buy energy on the grid just like we energy. Mm-hmm. So we're playing with the big boys and girls out there. Cost of energy is skyrocketing, as we know. We all want clean air. None of us want dirty air. But the cost of, what is the cost of clean air?
Right.
And if they take away our tax-free interest, that's going to raise our costs. Our energy costs are going up the way it is already. Mm-hmm. At what point can we not sustain any type of growth or industry that we have? And of course, being in the cheese industry, we need electricity. There's just no doubt about it. So we're continuing to emphasize the importance to our community and across Wisconsin of all of those concerns. They were exempt day one, let's keep them exempt.
Right, right. It's going to be an interesting few days for you.
Exciting. I'm looking forward to it for not being there for several years, but also I think the attitude in Washington is changing to your community, your state first. Mm-hmm. And that tends to help us when we're looking out for ourselves instead of sending money overseas.
Yep. Well, let's close things down by just saying that you're part of a committee for the library. The library has talked about doing some additions. they're going to have some meetings and activities, and you're going to be part of that.
Right. As mayor, I get to appoint an ad hoc committee, which becomes our study process. The library brought this forward earlier, a few months back. They have a lot of things that they'd like to do. It comes down to what can we afford to do.
Right.
Again, municipal interest. The library can borrow money, municipal bonds. So it's all relative and goes into that same package. Our first meeting is, I think, May 20th or
Yes,
March
it is.
20th. And that's, as any meeting that the city holds, they're open to the public.
Right.
So I've appointed a seven-member team to go through some of those things and see where the priorities are, and then kind of put a roadmap out on what we can do in the short term, have a goal for the long term, and then try to put a financing package together to accomplish those goals.
Okay,
So
we're just at the beginning.
Just at the beginning. We don't have a timeline yet.
Right.
If I said 6 to 12 months, I think that's a good ballpark to look at, because there's a lot here to go through. They did a lot of work already in a study that they did. All that will become part of this entire project of looking and seeing what we need and what our most immediate needs are. For sure, there'll be things different in the short term, but we want to look out of that box at the long term and the needs of the community. The library is an integral part of the city, our education system, and quite frankly, our businesses.
Yep, and we're just at the beginning of this. We'll talk about it more next time, okay?
Correct. Sounds good.
So until then, I thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
If you want to be part of what's happening in the city, they have their meetings on the second and last Tuesday of every month, generally, but now next week it's going to be on Thursday.
We're going to move it to Thursday.
Because you're out of town.
Because I'm in DC, that's
Yeah.
right.
Otherwise, it's the second and last Tuesday of every month down at City Hall, starting at 7 p.m.
7 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you again for being
You're
on.
welcome. My pleasure.
When we come back, I've got Donna Hahn waiting to talk about things happening in the arts. It's going to be a very, very busy spring for Donna and the Arts Center, so stay right with us. You're watching Action 14. Welcome back to Action 14. I now bring you Donna Hahn from the Arts Center. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mike. Glad to be here.
It's been a little while since you've sat down here in the hot seat.
It has been a while.
We've got so much happening. You've got so much happening down at the Arts
We
Center.
do. We are a
In the
busy
next,
place.
you really have been working forward. You have a lot of people that are helping you, I know,
Mm-hmm.
but you have things calculated out to June and everything
Oh, yeah.
all lined up.
All through the summer.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time to be part of the arts.
It for sure is, yes.
Let's talk first about the fact that you've got actually a new art show that's going to be opening. It's going to be special.
Well, it's our Wisconsin craft group. That's primarily they're from Milwaukee based, but their artists are from all over the state of Wisconsin. And anything from sculpture to fiber art to paintings, you know, all of it. So it's going to be a
But you've got
fun
an
show.
opening. The opening is March 7th.
It is March 7th,
And-
a Friday night.
And you actually then also, similar to what you do with our own members, the Wisconsin craft people will be giving awards
They will. At 6 o'clock, they're going to announce their award winners.
on the 7th of March.
Right.
And we have some activities that help you along as far as that evening too.
Oh, yes. We have Dan Ognovic is going to be there playing the piano for us to entertain us, and we'll have a cash bar and complimentary appetizers, as we always do, and
Absolutely.
desserts. So it'll be a festive evening, and you know, we're getting ready for that show, but also at the same time, we're collecting prospectus applications from our members and from Wisconsin artists for our Live in the Arts show,
Yes.
which opens in May.
Yeah, so this starts on March 7th, and then you'll be switching after that to our own people.
Yes, up until, right now, actually, we're receiving applications from, Wisconsin artists, 18 and above, and they can submit up to 3 pieces for judging, and we have a juror hired. It's Joy Moon from Oshkosh, and she's a wonderful artist in her own right, and she's going to jury the show for us, and she'll select all the, pieces that are going to be in the body of the show, and then later on she'll come back and she'll do the awards. So
It's going to, like I said, it's going to be a busy month or two for you because
it is.
you're receiving applications now for the next art show,
Yes.
and then immediately after this art show that you've got opening on the March 7th, you'll be picking who will be in the next art show.
Exactly.
Unbelievable.
Yes, so our visual arts team, always looking for members, by the way, so if anybody's interested in helping them out, it's a completely, volunteer position, a team, and they, always looking for new members to help, hang the artwork, to receive the artwork, to take down the artwork, to scrape the wall, plug the nail holes, and so all of the above, and so they're really, needing help. And you don't have to be an artist, you don't have to be, trained. They will train you, so, come on and join us.
Yeah, come on down. Yeah. But now, during this same time, you've got the Wee Bit Irish coming. That's March 14th, 15th, and 16th. You've got 3 shows. Wee Bit Irish has happened before.
Yes.
And March 14th, 15th, and 16th, everybody's going to be wearing green.
They will be. It'll be a big celebration. It's our own version of St. Patty's Day, and Celtic Folk does a nice job. They are going to have a special guest appearance by the Shower Arts Center dancers only on the March 15th show that evening. And, we have tickets available right now. So they kind of kick off we had Clue the Musical that kind of kicked off our
That was fantastic, by the way.
It was.
And nice sellout.
It was a great show. We loved it, and we're so thankful to Herb and Mike for bringing that to us and the whole cast.
But back to Wee Bit Irish, you've been putting on these shows in the past, but you always get a good turnout for the Wee Bit Irish. You do.
We do. And, everybody wants to celebrate St. Patty's Day.
Yep.
So, this is a great way to do it, right in your hometown, and, come on down and celebrate with us.
Yep, that's March 14th, 15th, and 16th. You've got the 14th and 15th are 7:30 p.m., and then you have an afternoon one on Sunday, the 16th.
Yes.
So that's always fun. Everybody enjoys it, and I know you're going to have a nice crowd.
Yeah. Come and sing along.
Yes. Now, one of the items that we should talk about is you got a Sartori concert coming up on April 5th.
We do. And we have a new coordinator of the event, and we don't know who the performers are yet, but we are going to sell tickets for it, and just be sure that we're going to have a great show that night.
Yeah, and that's on April 5th, Saturday, April 5th, and it's always good.
Yeah, always professional and very entertaining.
Yep, that's March 5th. But now the one that I'm looking forward to is all of the people that you bring in for the Pack Singers show.
Yes.
Wow.
We have,
The
again...
PAC singers,
yes,
unbelievable.
We have, again, over 45 singers that are, directed by Barb Zerwas-Neisy, and always do a great job. We're just so thankful for all the talent that we have in our community and, really the greater area. There's a lot of talent, and, they just put on a wonderful show.
And that's April 26th and 27th, only 2 shows, one evening
shows.
show, one afternoon show. And so get those tickets early, because when you have 45 artists
Right.
all involved in putting on a performance, that's got to be special.
Just, they bring one person and we're full.
Yeah, you're sold out. But it's such a great time. I know you have so many good supporters of all of this.
We do.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely.
And so that's the musical potpourri, and so it's going to be the 22nd annual spring concert. 22 years.
Yeah, we've been doing this a while.
Haven't we?
And I mean, we're so grateful that, you know, the singers come back year after year, and we have the support of the director, and
Yeah.
you know, they accompany us, and the combination of all of that makes a really great show.
And of course, I should mention again, on May 2nd, that's when you open up the Alive in the Arts show. And so you'll be busy choosing all of that.
Yes.
Isn't that wild?
Well, you know, and for us, it's nice to have the judge, because then that's one step that we don't have to, you know, take care of. And
Yep.
you know, she's a very good artist herself, and I know she's going to pick out a great show.
Yeah. One of the items I should mention also is that we've got so many things coming up here. You've got Alive in the Arts, that's happening. But the one I want to talk about is possibly a new one.
Yes.
Tell me about this.
Well-
An Armed Forces Day concert.
Well, we a couple of years ago, we had a tribute to veterans show.
Okay.
And it was very successful. It was directed by Julie Overby, and we had a very large cast. And we've invited Julie to come back and to do that show again in the future. She's not quite ready for that, but in the meantime, we thought, you know, what could we do on Armed Forces Day to honor our, you know, all of the military men and women that serve and their families. And I've seen the Radio Rosies advertised for a number of years, and I thought, well, let's invite them and see if they're available, because that is a special day. We thought maybe they would be busy, but they didn't have a booking yet. So we booked them for 2 shows on May 17th, which is Armed Forces Day. And we've invited the American Legion Color Guard to, you know, open the show for us. And we're going to have, you know, a couple local veteran singers open the show with the Color Guard, and then the Radio Rosies will perform.
Now, tell me about the Radio Rosies. I have not listened to them.
Yeah, well, it's, if you think about the Andrews Sisters from
Oh.
the 40s and the
Okay.
50s, you know, it's a show like that. It's a USO type show.
Okay.
And, you know, they're going to do all the favorite songs from the 30s, 40s, and 50s.
Okay.
And they have a band that backs them up, a 3-piece band. And I just think it's going to be a delightful show, you know, some nostalgia, and invite, you know, the community to come out and see something a little different.
2 shows all on May 17th. A 2:30 show and a 7:30 show, all
Yes.
on May 17th.
Right.
And support the veterans. I guess that's what I should say.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's what you're doing for the arts people, supporting the veterans.
Well, and our assistant, our executive assistant, Cindy Hayes, is coordinating this for us. And she has spoken to the Camel Quilt Project team, and they're putting together some quilts. And we're going to be doing some live auction, or, you know, a raffle on these quilts. And all the proceeds are going to go back to the Camel Quilt Project. So
Okay.
we're really happy about that.
Yeah, that is nice, yeah. That's happening again on May 17th. 2 shows, one at 2:30, one at 7:30, and support the veterans.
Yes, absolutely.
One thing I'd like to also bring up is the Pied Piper by Youth Theater Company. There's going to be 3 shows happening May 9th through the 11th.
That's on Mother's Day weekend again. And we just got the announcement of who the cast members are, so check our website, because we're going to put that out there.
PlymouthArts.org.
Yes, and it's going to be a big cast again. And this is Patty and Tim's original work of Pied Piper.
Yeah.
And so it's a musical, so we're looking forward to this show again this year on Mother's Day weekend. So come and celebrate Mother's Day with us.
Yes, down at the Arts Center. That's a most beautiful place to celebrate it, actually, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, check out our website and look for those names.
Yep, May 9th through the 11th. 3 different shows. It should be fun.
Yeah, definitely.
The one thing I'd like to close out with is we're already looking forward to everything happening with Mill Street cast.
Yes.
This is unbelievable that we're already talking the Mill Street
Right.
shows that are, what, two Saturdays and...
It's going to be 2 Sunday matinees and 7 Friday evenings.
7 Friday evenings and 2 Sunday matinees, as
So-
it has been in the past.
Pretty much the whole summer, from June 20th through August 2nd. And, just before the Jazz Crawl, that's their last show. So, you'll have plenty of opportunities to come out and see 12 local performers
Well,
again.
this is the new part, though. These are very local. I mean, these are
Yes.
Plymouth local.
Yes.
We're not talking local Kiel to Holstein.
99%.
We're talking, yeah, Plymouth.
Yes.
Yeah, and I read through the names and I go, these are all Plymouth high school kids.
Yes.
It should be a great time.
Yeah, I mean, just such homegrown talent. We're so proud of them.
Well, Plymouth should be proud of them. We have so much homegrown talent, and that's what makes the Arts Center so nice here in Plymouth.
Yes. Well, they're finished with high school, they're going on to college, and they can come back and they have a place to perform, all summer long.
Yeah,
So,
it should be fun. So make your plans now to spend a couple Friday nights and maybe a Sunday down at the Arts Center, Mill Street Live.
yes, and after that, of course, the Jazz Crawl is right behind there, and so
I
we're
know.
making all the plans right now.
We'll bring
And
you
then-
information about the Jazz Crawl
Yeah.
soon.
And then throughout the summer, we're still going to have kids from Wisconsin on July 13th.
Yeah.
So, keep in touch with us because we have lots coming up.
PlymouthArts.org. Find out what's happening. Stop in though, because we've already told you all the different items that are going to be on the wall to look at and to enjoy the arts
Yes.
around Plymouth. Stop in.
Yes. I did forget to mention that when we have the Armed Forces Day concert, we are also going to have veterans artwork on our great room walls.
Okay.
So we have, I think, 13 artists right now that have signed up to
Oh.
bring some of their artwork in. So that's going to be nice.
That'll
and-
be part of the May 17th activity.
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, I want to thank you for coming in and giving us all of these things. You're filling up my calendar. This is going to be a great summer for the arts.
I think so.
Thank you again.
You're welcome.
When we come back, I'm going to be talking to the superintendent, and we'll be talking about what's happening in the Plymouth School District. Stay right with us. You're watching Action 14. My goodness. do you
Yeah, I
have some
saw.
stuff. Welcome back to Action 14. I have with me now Superintendent Scott Steer. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me.
We're in the second half of the school year and looking forward to spring.
Yeah, and you wouldn't know it outside right now. We are below zero, but it is coming.
Oh, yes. And so, and people out there should know that when it starts looking like spring in the second half of the semester, we're already planning next year.
Yeah,
Heavily.
very true. I mean, now is that time of year, and it's probably boring to most people, but we're looking at our future enrollments as we head into next year, what staffing looks like, all those types of things. From a budgetary standpoint, really the planning is now.
Yeah, that's right. It's all part of that. Let's talk about some things that have happened now since we met last, because you hosted the Wisconsin Singers last Friday, and we had our own Momentum opening the evening. That's always fun.
Yeah, fantastic event, some really, really talented individuals, and really another great way of showcasing what we have to offer here in Plymouth.
Right, and one of the things that would have been so much fun to be involved in is the 4-year-old and 3-year-old open house.
Yeah.
These little kids that showed up on, where's my date here? It was unbelievable, on February 6th.
Correct. February 6th, that same night, we had 3-year-olds at Horizon. We had our 4K programming open house night over at Fairview. And I don't know if I got as much of a kick watching the kids and interacting with them, or the parents that are doing it for the first time.
Oh.
But we had a great turnout, really a lot of information, and an opportunity for the kids to see the rooms that they can be a part of and get excited about that already.
It's got to be so much fun to do those kind of things and to make that all happen, And then of course we had the 8th graders up here. We call it freshman night, freshman orientation, maybe we call it.
Right,
maybe.
right. And there again, it's roughly an hour, and that is packed full of information, talking about what classes look like, the idea of what credits are and why they're important, talking about our extracurricular activities, seeing the building, a lot that goes on that evening to start preparing our 8th graders for next year.
Yeah, and so 8th graders were up at the high school, not only finding out the classes, but finding out where the rooms are.
Yeah.
And we had some high school kids giving them a tour.
You bet. That's an important element as well. And really the conversations that occur between our 8th graders and our upperclassmen leading those tours, that's worth the price of admission as well.
Sure. And another item that we should talk about is the fact that we had some dance activities that scored some wins.
Yeah, our Plymouth dance team is really a high-performing group and extremely competitive. They performed recently, just a couple weeks ago, at the state dance competition in La Crosse and took 3rd in hip-hop. Several different categories, but that's where they excelled at that state competition. So congratulations to those ladies.
Right. And the FBLA, they hosted a Hearts for All Ages Valentine's Day party. That was special.
You know, it was special, and it took place on February 12th, and that day we had snow throughout the day.
Right.
And they were really concerned that it would impact the number of people that attended that event, but Generations was packed. I mean,
Right.
obviously our FBLA kids were leading the charge, but we had a lot of community members that attended that event. Our kids were great welcoming them, shoveling the walk to make sure that it was, passable and things like that, but really a heartwarming event.
It is, and it's special.
It is.
And being involved in some of that myself, it is so special. That's
Great.
It's something. Well, let's talk about some awards. I've never seen somebody bring back 44 regional awards.
Yeah, our HOSA group.
Yeah.
Yeah, and 21 of our kids are moving on to that state competition the first week in April as well. So, we talk a lot about athletics, we talk about the arts, but we have these clubs that exist as well.
Right.
This for health occupations, for kids who have an interest in that area, that a lot of people might not know a lot about, but really important to what we do here.
It's unbelievable that would happen. We've got some things that are just around the corner because you're hosting a music bingo fundraiser down at the Plymouth Arts Center.
Yeah.
That's something that's new.
It is. The Plymouth Education Foundation every other year does a fundraiser of sorts, and this year it's music bingo at the Arts Center. That's taking place this Saturday, the 22nd at 5:30. If people are interested, tickets are $45, again, with all proceeds going right back to our students. But that's going to be a fun evening. So if anybody is looking for something to do Saturday evening, it's not too late.
Yeah. And another item that I get a kick out of is the fact that we have school board members. They meet in the AMP twice a month.
Sure.
Now they're going to get a tour.
Right.
And so you're actually going to take all of those people, or those few people, and you're going to tour all of our buildings.
Right. So that's actually taking place tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a full morning. We start at 7:15 and we're finishing with lunch in the cafeteria here at the high school between 12 and 12:30. But we're hitting all of our different buildings. The principals in those buildings, we'll be giving them a tour. We'll be able to pop into classrooms, see what's going on. But again, to your point, that our board comes together twice a month, essentially. And, they don't get this opportunity to see under the hood as often as we might like. So this is a great opportunity for them to do so.
Yeah, one of the items that is coming up now, we know budget is happening. You're going to have the number of students that we'll have next year is also coming about. But there are so many things that you have to plan for the next year. It is staff as well. It is so much work now that happens between now and July 1.
Right. And I think the interesting thing that has changed over the last 5 to 10 years is the fact that that planning process, you're really not set until day one.
Right.
It starts now. It takes that entire time, but there are curveballs that might come your way for whatever reason and things like that right up till that first day of school. So it is a very active planning season.
And what's crazy about it is the fact that you have all these staff figured out, and in one day you've got to start doing it again. It's not set in stone anymore.
Right. No, very true. I mean, things change for whatever reason. But yeah, you've got to be flexible, and you've always got to have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, and so on.
One of the things I'd like to spend just a moment on is daycare. You are, as a school board, actually looking at how we can make daycare more available / more involved. bring the cost down. There's so many things with daycare that affect Plymouth School District.
Absolutely. Again, the idea is we are one team, we are one community. We're so fortunate to have our community ed department here within the district that is able to do that wraparound care for our kids. But the reality is we have a waiting list of families waiting to get their 6-month-old, 1-year-old, and so on in childcare. This is not unique to Plymouth. It's everywhere. But yeah, our charge is to find ways to become a little more efficient so that we can accommodate more families. And we do think we've got a plan in place that will help us to up that a little bit for the upcoming year, and we're going to find ways to continue to do that.
It's going to take a lot of work to have staff available, to have daycare, which is so badly needed.
It is, yep.
Yeah. We should wrap up by talking about something coming up, and that's the big show. Legally Blonde is coming up on March 6th to the 9th.
Yeah, and it's funny because the first posters went up in fall, so
Yeah.
there is quite the ramp up, all the practice that goes into it. It's great walking past, our auditorium and hearing the practice and so on, but you can start to feel the buzz in the building already that it's coming. So again, if people have not planned on that, highly encourage people to come out and experience that.
Well, and get your tickets early.
Yeah.
There will be, I won't say the word sellout, but there's going to be some full houses.
Right, and we do have the 4 days, but yeah, especially if you are targeting a specific day, you better get on it
Yep.
early.
And what's really nice is the fact, yes, we have a lot of athletic things happening right now. This is state tournament time for the basketball, boys, girls, wrestling, all of the swimming, all that's happening right now. But at the same time, we have all the different items in the auditorium.
Right.
When you think about having a show that involves how many students.
No, it's fantastic. And then you lump onto that, I started smiling because you're talking about wrapping up that winter season. Well, the reality is, in a lot of cases, we're going to overlap that with the start of our spring season. So,
Right.
I mean, things do not slow down.
Kids will be running, preparing for track, and doing tennis all the time now. They're
You
getting
bet.
ready.
You bet. And, if Mother Nature helps out and it doesn't have to be quite so cold, that'll be great for our kids.
Yeah. What's really nice is Plymouth School District does have a vast number of students in extracurricular, whether it's in the show happening, in the auditorium, on the stage, or in the gymnasium. We have so many students involved.
We do. And it's a focus of ours because we know our kids are going to be happier, they're going to perform better academically, and the list goes on, the more they are involved outside of the classroom. So we're really proud of the number of opportunities we can provide, and then there's that encouragement to make sure the kids are taking us up on it.
Well, you have a very busy spring ahead of you.
We do,
And-
but exciting.
It is fun.
Yeah.
And so we'll be talking again, and the next time you're in, we'll probably be talking about house setting up for graduation.
Yeah, that's coming.
It's on its way.
It is.
Yes, well, thanks for being on,
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
and I want to thank you for being with us. Until I see you next time, I'll be seeing you on the radio. Bye-bye. Oh, we got it all covered.
Thank you.